Does anyone have a question I would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart, it's Brad.
Yes, Brad?
Is there a visual representation of the hara that can deepen one's experience?
Uh, yes. I know that in Hindu Tantrism, they have a thing called the chakra man, and they literally diagram the entire chakra system inside, including, they don't call it the hara, but that chakra is diagrammed. Uh, I'm sure if you just put it in Google, you'll find a million representations of it, whether it's in Japanese culture or, you know, Tibetan or, but it shouldn't be difficult to find. I mean, often can I think of a page in a book to send you to? No. But I have seen and I've had in my life a lot of these chakra men that were painted in Nepal and they were painted in India. In fact, I saw one about 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago that was Tibetan, which is really unusual. And it was a picture of a standing Buddha with the whole chakra system painted into his system. But I mean, it's something you could just go into Google, and I'm sure they'll stuff will come up because people have written books about it, and people have actually done photographs of artworks that depict it. So I don't think it would be too hard to find something. Can I recommend a page in a book? No, I don't. I don't know that.
Have you found it useful in your own meditation?
Yes, I can tell you one thing. I really liked and still like very much those kind of depictions. I've had many of them. I've had them in for the Jain culture. I've had them for Hindu culture, and they've always moved me inside. A depiction of what's real, inside a human being, the subtle body of a human being. So yes, they have worked for me in helping me to open. I mean, the first place I ever came across this, to be honest with you, is when I was younger. I read a lot of books about the Kabbalah. And in the Kabbalah, they talk about something called the Sephirotic tree. And, you see diagrams in the books depicting, they have different names for them, but basically depicting the chakra system. The same thing that you would find in Hinduism, Buddhism, in mystical Jewish law in the Kabbalah. So you can find this in a lot of places, you know, and you just have to go do a little research. It'll take you 20 minutes to come up with about 30 things that really are good. Does it work for you? That's up to you. I always related to those things in a very deep way. In fact, a friend sent me a picture of this, about a 4 foot high Tibetan tanka. I never saw anything like it in my life. And it was a chakra man in Tibetan. I've never seen that painted in Tibetan Buddhist art. And it really opened me when I saw it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Oh, I hope somebody has questions. Ask a question. I mean, getting back to the hara, the third chakra, I mean, this is a very esoteric form of spiritual experience. And it's something that you could use depictions of it, paintings of it or sculptures of it. I mean, I have a sculpture in my living room of a yantra. And when I look at it, it moves something inside me. I mean, it's a plaque and it's actually yantra, it's a mandala. And it opens things in me. They always have. Even before I met Rudy, I remember, years ago, before maybe 4 or 5 years before I met Rudy, I went into a place called the Riverside Museum, and they had an exhibition of Tibetan tankas, and I had never seen a tanka before, and I was completely floored. It was like looking at my freaking relatives, being painted in front of me, and it really opened me in such a profound way to just recognize that here is art that was very similar to the kinds of spiritual experiences I was having as a young man. And things like chakra paintings, and this is really a refined element of spiritual evolution. And a lot of it is kind of folksy, but when it's done well, it's just really powerful stuff. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart,
Yes.
when a forgotten memory that is associated with trauma emerges from your subconscious, and sometimes not ready to just bring it straight into the hara, want to sort of process it to a certain extent. Does it become, as you do the work, and sort of an automatic way when things that were painful come out into your presence?
The first thing, Larry, is be grateful they're coming out. These things have been buried inside you and me and all of us for years, and they're eating us alive inside. And when they start coming out, it means you're beginning to release them. And instead of freaking out over something that happened 20, 50, 400 lifetimes ago, you turn it into chi, into energy by using the craft of meditation to do that. But the first thing is, instead of being freaked out by memories of stupid things we've done in our life, should be grateful these things have been buried, that we're releasing. And given the act of releasing them, it gives us the opportunity to truly get those things out of our system, to finally get free of them. But the first step is not to cower, it's to, it's to truly have gratitude. Stuff is coming up. It's been eating me alive. It's been creating all kinds of chaos inside me. Now it's coming up, and I can get rid of it. I can draw it into the chakra system, transform it into Shakti, into energy that gives me life instead of eating me alive. I mean, if you want to analyze it and figure it, you'll make yourself crazy. But if you want to just take that stuff and just just incorporated in your chakra system and in the Shakti that flows through your chakra, you will flush it right out of your system. It will become chi. It will activate Kundalini. It'll become Shiva Shakti, male, female energy in it'll become an open heart. All of that stuff. It's just energy. And when we buried it and repressed it, it was negative energy. So it's been repressed that way. If we open that way and it releases, then we can transform it into something that truly can give us life.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Larry. Does anyone else have a question? I mean, these are really important things, what I'm talking about, I mean, the question about repressed tension. It's very hard to have a spiritual life if you spend your whole day being neurotic. Thinking this, that, being driven crazy by thoughts, endless thoughts, emotions, guilt, fear. We got to transform all that stuff. We're born here to learn how to do that. And once we learn how to do that, it makes it possible for us to open to the tantric nature of energy inside us, a more refined cosmic type energy that exists within a human being. But we have to, nurture the soil. And look, in nature or in a garden, you use compost. Well, human compost is tension. And we can use that tension in order to produce this incredible amount of wisdom inside us, because we're no longer blocking it. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
So when I send this type of energy to the Hara, is that my piece of work, or are there other things that I need to be doing once I've sent it to the Hara?
Yes, then the gratitude you feel in your heart will open your heart, and you sustain that gratitude, the heart opens and it can stay open. You have a whole foundation inside you that can keep the heart open. Then you can bring a piece of your attention to the base of the spine, and you can draw the energy from the third chakra, the Hara, to the base of the spine, and it'll activate Kundalini. So the transformation of negativity into chi gives you the power to activate Kundalini. It gives you the strength to keep your heart open. Because you're no longer battling all of that internal stuff, all that neurosis, anxiety, tired of repeating it, et cetera,
So it's the gratitude that kicks things into gear. Yes?
It's the gratitude that what?
It's the gratitude that kicks everything into gear. Yes?
The gratitude opens the heart. And breathing consciously, using the double breath to consciously open the heart, not to open, to strengthen the heart. That's how it works. But none of that is going to work if you're not rooted and grounded inside yourself. So you need to have the third chakra open. That's where you get rooted and grounded. And then that gives you the strength. I mean, when you're talking about Kundalini, you're talking about a very powerful energy. You talk about Tantra, the energy of the sexual area. This is really powerful stuff. You need to be really grounded in order to, transform the human to the spiritual, which takes place when you move energy through the sex to the base of the spine. And without that grounding, in Kundalini can burn a person up. Tantric energy could burn a person up. It's very powerful stuff. So we need that grounding inside that enables us to activate all these more refined and strong elements that exist within us, to keep the heart open, the throat open, to keep the mind quiet. If you're not grounded, the mind will never stay quiet. It all works together. It's like a one-man band you're playing there. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Bob. I mean, what I just did was just a more advanced way of just describing the double breathing exercise. That's all that is. That's what the double breathing exercise does. And the focusing of the mind in the third chakra. It's all very basic. It's all basic stuff. And our job is to get the basics working for us. And then organically, this more metaphysical, tantric, these experiences just begin to take place.
Stuart, I have a
Anyone else have
question.
a question?
I do, Stuart.
Yes.
Linda, is there ever any focus on grounding through the feet?
Is there any, you'll have to repeat that.
Is there ever any focus on grounding through the feet?
Well, there are chakras in the feet. If you get centered in the third chakra, your feet will get grounded. And they will start even drawing energy from the earth, the feet. If you're not centered in that chakra, it's hard to get anything grounded inside us. It's hard to get anything functioning properly inside us. The hands, another instrument where there's chakras. You get grounded in the chakra below the navel. You'll suddenly begin to feel energy flowing through the palms of your hands, right out of the cosmos. You'll feel that in the meditation class. You'll feel energy coming up from the earth through the chakras in the soles of your feet. It's funny, all of it works because of that centeredness inside. I mean, people can talk spiritual, they can talk, all the Hindu philosophies and all the mantras and yantras and et cetera, et cetera. And it's all just, it's kind of air unless people are really grounded inside. Then you don't have to talk about it. One begins to experience it as a living reality, including drawing energy through the soles of the feet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And I'm not stuck on this. It's not, it's just the most basic thing I learned from, it's the first thing Rudy ever taught me. bring your attention to the chakra below the navel. And he used to talk about it endlessly after his meditation classes. And I know a lot of people teach, in quotes, Rudy's work, and they never teach this kind of thing. I don't know why, but then that's not my business, what other people teach. But it's the very core and the very foundation of everything that Rudy passed on to us. Because without that, none of the rest of it works. Doesn't work. Remember, we still have to live on the earth. Living here means we got to have that kind of grounding inside to deal with, the power of karma. Of interacting, interaction between ourselves and the world. The power of spiritual energy. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna reveals himself to Arjuna, it's as if the light of 1,000 suns suddenly appeared in the sky. It's God revealing himself to his disciple, to a devotee. Imagine the system you need inside to deal with spirit, to deal with karma, to deal with enlightenment, activation of Kundalini. One needs really strong center inside, grounding. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, there'll be class tomorrow evening. And thank you. God bless you all for your presence here. And as I say every evening, for you being my teacher, demanding that I go deep enough in myself to tap a very high source of it. So God bless you all. And thank you. And we'll have meditation tomorrow evening. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Stuart.